I like that. So then he said, "It's your apple."
That man.
Oh,
What a jokester.
hey guys.
Hello there.
Welcome to the Brother Symbolism.
Roll credits. Cool.
All right. You got a cat here.
I got a cat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Episode 2. With
Episode
the cat? With the cat?
I have a second cat roaming around, but I don't know where she is.
I just got a text message real quick, so keep this rolling while I
Okay.
send this. This is what happens when you don't tell people you're filming.
Yeah. My wife is a good wife, and she's locked away in the bedroom. Your woman is interrupting the podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome,
this
guys.
is because we're new.
Yeah,
This is
we're
because
new.
We're new. We don't have the schedule set yet.
We're figuring stuff out. Welcome to the second episode of the Brother Symbolism podcast.
Yeah.
I almost forgot.
Title.
Yeah, by almost, I mean,
We're new.
for a split second, I completely
How many
forgot.
Twitter followers do we have?
2 on 1. No,
1.
We
No,
have-
I think there's 2.
we have 1 Twitter follower, and it's me.
Mm-hmm.
But we have, we've been reaching out
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter to different people, and we have people commenting back saying, "Good luck," and we
Cool.
we hope you do well. But they haven't followed me back
From
yet.
small things, big things come.
Well,
From small things, big things come. Because we're all babies once.
we
We
were
were all babies. We were all
Yeah.
small.
So
Even if we were big baby, we were smaller than we are now.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
there.
Welcome to episode 2.
Yeah.
This episode, we are going to be talking about werewolves.
My favorite Halloween monster, if you remember from episode 1.
Yeah, if you've watched episode 1.
So what we want to do is talk about werewolves and their origins,
Yeah. Find
their
out.
legitimacy. Are they real? How do we define what real is?
Yeah.
When it comes to that, and a possible tie into Christianity.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe you'll find out if we believe in werewolves.
So
I don't know.
This isn't comprehensive. Of course, we're not going to go from the first legend of the werewolf down the line.
We could.
But we could.
We could pull in underworld movies.
Yeah. But it's going to be so long. And there's like 12 of them.
Nobody got time for that.
So what we're going to do is post some of the research in the description that we pulled from, that we've learned from.
Yes.
But we also, what we're more interested in is sort of hearing each other out of what, and thinking about how each of us respectively, what we glean from the werewolf information.
Yeah.
Like what we sort of took from it, what we think's interesting about it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah. I was out to dinner with a friend of mine over the weekend. To name drop, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Drew in the Navy, but
Yeah,
the other Drew. I won't say last name for not that anyone's listening.
This is pedal cord, by the way.
But out with Drew, and he told me he believes in werewolves.
Really?
Would you? Yeah,
I'm glad.
100%. Would you believe that he said that?
No.
Yeah.
Not that true.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. And he said, I was describing to him very poorly what this podcast is. And he goes, yeah, I believe in werewolves.
Okay. I was crowdsourcing at work a little bit, just as we're preparing for this video, and I went up to a coworker of mine and I said, hey, Britt, do you believe in werewolves? And she goes, well, and that's enough. Because I thought, of course she's going to say absolutely not.
The best answer would be if you said, do you believe in werewolves? And the person went, I'd rather not discuss this.
Yeah, this conversation's over.
This is,
Yeah, that's what I would love to
We're
do.
done here.
But I also asked another friend of mine, Chris, and he laughed, and then he was like, not werewolves per se. So I'm like, this is,
What do you mean?
yeah, how many people believe in werewolves?
Yeah.
I thought like nobody did.
That's the thing. You ask different people what a werewolf is, and you get
You get a bunch of different
You
answers.
get very different answers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start by sharing kind of different research we found.
Mm-hmm.
There are some words, or at least that I'm going to use, I don't know, him, and things I'll say that might not make sense. We've posted, or by the time this video is posted, we'll have 2 other videos posted. One that Danny himself did, and one that I did on kind of a brief origin of werewolves. And to better understand what we're going to be talking about in this video, watch those other ones.
Mm-hmm. They're short.
Um,
They're like 5
there's-
to 6 minutes each.
Maybe 7,
Maybe 7.
but watch them first. You don't have to, but you do. And then this will make more sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you start? Tell me kind of,
Yeah.
tell them.
So
What have you been researching?
When I was diving into werewolves over this past week, and my fascination with them has been the past couple weeks, because I want to be a werewolf for Halloween. I want to buy a werewolf costume.
You can be whatever you want when you grow up.
I can, and I think I'll be a werewolf. I looked at some of their origins. I thought was really interesting. But what I was actually thinking about a little more with it was like their symbolism. What can we glean from the werewolf that might teach us more about ourselves? Which is what really my video is on. If you watch that, but one thing I thought was interesting is, and this will be in the description, but all of the how prevalent the myth of the werewolf is it's in nearly every country. Like it's all around the globe. But also the Navajo.
Yeah, every culture has their.
Every culture has. It's like a flood myth or something like that. There's werewolves everywhere.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was really interesting is some of the research done with the Navajo people and their belief in skinwalkers, which maybe I'll say
shapeshifter, right?
Shapeshifter, skinwalker. Maybe I'll say SW actually from now on. Apparently they don't ever mention that word.
Really?
They won't say it. And the origin behind a skinwalker, this is actually super interesting, I never knew this. The origin behind a skinwalker is, so medicine man in their tribe is like a witch, right?
Yeah, but, witch doctor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But medicine, so a medicine man is trained in good and bad magic. They have to be apparently trained in it all in order to understand it well and know how to use it. But some of them apparently fall prey to the bad magic, okay?
Okay.
How you become an SW, I'll do that because I was listening to a guy say, just please out of respect for them, don't say it. So sure. I won't say it. You have to
respecting people.
It's the glasses.
Yeah.
Sure. You have to, and just freaking look at these skinny jeans, dude.
Look at these.
Those are super skinny jeans.
Look at me, baggy dad jeans.
In order to, the way you become a skinwalker is a medicine man has to commit a really heinous act. So they basically they have to kill a family member or something like that, and then I think they complete this ritual, and they're wearing the skin of the animal.
So
that they
say they have to,
into.
it's like a sacrifice in order to.
Yeah, and they do some sort of ritual, and they wear the skin of the animal they want to transform into, and it's a wolf, and they basically become a werewolf. And this is
they could transform into anything they want.
I think so. I think there's bears.
If they were,
I guess, but why?
Wild boars.
They probably want to transform into something that has more power.
All right, whatever.
And.
I'd argue.
And so, but this has been prevalent, I mean, thousands of years. One of the things, though, which is interesting when I was reading about it, is they don't like to talk to outsiders about it at all. And I can't remember who the person was, like one of the leaders of, in like Navajo people, but they were like, listen, we don't like to talk to outsiders about this. That might sound rude, but we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get like the information, apparently, and exactly what they believe about it, other than like through secondhand sources or something. But this has been prevalent, and still many of them believe it. And there's also been some really interesting stuff with this man whose name is L.A. Marzulli. I think Marzulli, I might be pronouncing it wrong or whatever, but he's a Christian but sort of fringe-ish guy or whatever, but he spent time on a Navajo reservation and believes that the SWs, because he won't say skinwalker, but are demonic entities that are like transforming because there's been this unbroken line of like this dark magic or whatever for thousands and thousands of years, and has seen he's seen some like crazy stuff, and there's apparently some video footage of something quick that you can't really see it or whatever, but I mean that would be essentially a werewolf, like what many people would deem a werewolf. So I thought that was really interesting. Also what I found, which I thought was cool, was what's called the Cynosiliphi, which I don't know if you came across that in your research.
I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Is basically the old legend that exists in a lot of these accounts of like ancient travelers and stuff about this race of people typically it's in India, they said, but they were civilized, but like a civilized group of people who had dog heads.
Yeah.
Bodies of humans, but head of dogs.
That's what like Saint Christopher.
Yes.
That's what he was believing.
And some
one of the legends around.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we could actually make another video just about that. I think I planned to at one point because that's a very interesting backstory with him.
And but like it's not just like what's interesting about the stories is it's not like somebody just saw like a couple of them run across the field because some modern day people were like, oh, they must have seen this one type of lemur, which is like 3 foot long, like they're like 3 feet, and they have sort of a longer nose,
in and of itself is
which is terrifying. But the accounts are, we were around the people. They're a culture. They have women. Like it was. They weren't savages. They were civilized people, but they didn't. They communicated through like barking and howling, or whatever. But they were like, they just had dog heads. The most interesting thing that I read is Augustine, the famous. I mean, not a church father, but early Christian. The theologian.
Confessions.
In City of God. He writes about the sign of Siliphi and has an inner debate with himself about whether these people are descendants from Adam or not. And if they are, then you should preach the gospel to them. But if they're not, then you don't really need to. But he basically settles on, one, they might not exist, but two, they very well may, and they should be treated like anybody else. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy. But so there's a lot of that sort of stuff. But basically, all of that to say, this myth is like far, far back and across the world, and mentioned by people that you wouldn't think would normally mention it.
Yeah. You know, the Canaanites were said to be like dog-headed people. Canines. I don't know if that's true. I think that's a dad joke that I heard somewhere.
Is that a joke?
Yeah, okay. Probably. It's kind of good.
Not bad. Not bad.
That's interesting. I knew the thing. I knew the myth, whatever you want to call it, the story of the dog-headed people. But
I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, the whole Indian reservation, which makes complete sense. Because Twilight.
That's real.
You know.
That's real.
Interesting. I was 3 things that really interested me when I was researching this. The one, and this will be covered in the video we uploaded right before this, called Werewolves of Instantiation. And this comes from Plato. A little bit Aristotle as well, but Plato had this theory, a couple of theories. One was of the 3-part soul. And I don't know if you're familiar with that at all. The 3-part. Are you texting?
I'm sorry.
Are you...
I'm back.
That's so disrespectful.
I'm back. 3-part soul.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
This was fascinating when I listened to your video, because this was stuff that I didn't know.
That there were, at any one point in a person's life, there were 3 parts of the soul, and one of those parts was always dominant. It was the, I forget exactly what he termed it, but the one was the flesh. So all the pleasures, desires, passions of the flesh. One was, I believe, the spirit. And you can look all this up for yourself. I don't dive into so much of this part in the previous video, but one was the spirit, and the other in control, I think, was the mind and rationale. Mm-hmm. So he went into this whole thing, and he believed that he believed, I think, in werewolves is what he was kind of getting at, but in the sense that everyone has like this inner beast, and at any one point in time, if the beast is showing, like the beast side of you, the evil desires or the more animal like desires, that person would transform, if I'm understanding that correctly, into this form.
So this is Plato.
Yeah. So I could be very wrong on that. It's a new theory, but I believe that's what he was saying.
So if that is correct, right? Yeah. So basically, that's saying that like it could be that desire, you could become strong enough where it would legitimately change your like physicality. Yeah.
And then when that was subdued and the man part, and you were acting out of the more human side, you would have the appearance of man. And he goes into this whole thing, this whole ordeal that I'm not going to recite verbatim because I can't, and I won't do it justice. But that's why if you watch the other video, I go into that a lot more. Do your own research. It's very fascinating what he thought of stuff, and Aristotle played into that a little bit with his idea, and it makes sense that they would, because going back to those times, I mean, that was arguably probably even more prominent, those myths and legends.
I just think what's so fascinating about it is the amount of people, like well-respected intellectuals from across time, who you would never think would mention this stuff, and they do.
Yeah, they're all about
like it's like you think of like it's like the Bigfoot hunters today, or like werewolf stuff. You're like, oh, it's the far out like crazy people who don't have dates and stuff, like or like the nerds in high school or something. But it's like Plato mentions werewolves, like Augustine talks about dogs.
That should at least get you to take pause. So that was really interesting. A lot of it was beyond me, but it was cool to research it. Another thing that I found, which was really interesting, have you ever heard of the Hounds of God?
Excuse me. Yes, I think I read something about that in my research, but I don't quite remember.
So I was starting to research that a little bit. So there's a lot more that I could dive into. But I guess the theory is that these were normal men that lived their life devoted to God and would do whatever they can to protect the earth and its inhabitants from evil. And when they got to heaven, God would transform their spirit and send them back to earth as a werewolf. And they would earth, and they would also descend into hell and do battles with the demons.
I did read
in
that.
the form of wolves.
Yes, and I don't remember where I read it on the source, but we'll try to find something and post it.
And
that's so cool.
That is fascinating to me.
That's so cool.
And it was this whole. I think there's different there were different people that were kind of involved in that as far as I don't know if they would have been considered theologians or just different kings and stuff and philosophers and things like that. But it's this whole thing about this you call it a race of people or whatever that would come back and they would do battle with the spiritual and earthly entities, but they would be in the form of a werewolf doing that battle on behalf of God.
That's so cool.
Which is really
That's so cool.
Really interesting. And what's really cool, and we've talked about this, for those who are maybe new to this, we work out of the Christian tradition. So a lot of our stuff is going to be through that filter. And I was reading in the book of Daniel about King Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, I came across that as well.
And how he is a werewolf.
One thing I read was that he was cursed with lycanthropy, which is like what we named the disease. People who think they're wolves. There are people who think they're wolves, and that comes from the Greek story of the guy who gets cursed to become a werewolf. His name is.
And I've been reading that, and I totally forget.
Lycan or something.
Maybe we'll put his name on the video.
Put that name. It's
right on the bottom.
Here. It's right there. But
and if
crawling on the ground
literally, which I do take that part literally. He was crawling on the ground like a beast, eating like the oxen, as it says. And I don't know if it says it goes into a lot more detail about what he did in that curse, animal-like curse.
His hair is like mangy.
All over his hair,
nails
fangs.
grow out.
He grew fangs, or grew like long teeth or something like that. And I know a lot of people have used that as an argument for, hey, werewolves exist. You need to believe Scripture, I guess, in order to even have that argument. But it's really interesting that even in the Christian tradition, there is at least a slight tale of werewolves or wolf-like
I was
creatures.
listening to a podcast on this, and I can't remember which one it was I was listening to, but some of the guys were talking about St. Christopher, and they were like, it's weird because you don't think of Christianity as ever having this stuff in it or dealing with this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's actually not true.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of that stuff in it that you come to find. It's just maybe not common knowledge in like today's world about it. But it has a lot of that fringe stuff.
If you believe in the spiritual side of Christianity,
and I'm not saying it has werewolves in it, but it has debatable things where you go, oh, that's interesting.
But it should stop and give you pause.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in demons and spirituality and angels and different wars and heaven and hell and stuff like that, why wouldn't you at least take into consideration the fact that maybe there were these beasts or curses inflicted upon people? I mean, in my opinion, dark magic, like stuff of witch doctors and India, as you were saying, or different places, Africa, is very real and prevalent. I mean,
that's actually a good point. Like Elder Marzulli, the guy I was talking about, he says, he's like, I when I get on like air or whatever, he's like, I remind Christians we believe in virgin birth, like incarnation of God, like a talking donkey, like Balaam's donkey, or like like things that generally get accepted by Christians. But then if you were to mention some of that stuff, they'd be like, well, that's far out and wacky.
Yeah.
Well, you do already believe in the supernatural, or you should.
Yeah.
So this is like a lower tier than some of that other stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, it's just you think it's weirder.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a good point. But that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I think one of the main things I took away from like researching the werewolves for this video is like how you can't do one video on werewolves.
Yeah.
Like there's way too much.
You can't.
You could do a whole series on.
I googled werewolves and scripture, and one of the first videos that popped up was Christian werewolf hunter. So I clicked on it.
That guy's got the best job
It was
in the
a
world.
garbage metal band.
Oh, really?
Absolutely terrible.
We should have known this.
We should.
Demon Hunter.
That'll be the music that plays in the intro.
We probably won't because we can't do that, but...
What? Copyright?
Yeah.
Quick, no one's listening to these people. They don't know. It was awful. So that was a little bit of a letdown. Then I scrolled through and I found out this stuff. But yeah, it was very interesting and nothing, something that you cannot contain to one video. That's why we've been uploading a couple different ones.
But I think talk a little bit more about, like when you were doing research on what Plato was saying. I was at work one day and like taking a walk outside, nice day, and I was thinking, what would it be like if I looked at the werewolf from like a point of view that I haven't found other people looking at it through, like symbolism, like let me just look at it and bring out the most like things from it that you wouldn't normally think about, or like might sound a little ridiculous, but see how it lines up, right?
Okay.
Then like I was actually pretty interested in it, so I was like, okay, man transforming into beast, that is the like lack of self-control, obviously. When in the stories when you're transforming into a werewolf, it's usually not conscious, like brought about by a full moon. And the legends differ or whatever, but like the most traditional one you're thinking of is like brought about by a full moon and you can't really control it, right? So it's like, okay, if we don't learn to hone the irresponsibility and the beast and like the selfishness in us, it eventually takes over. It transforms us into like a self-centered monster, right?
Sure. And
then I'm thinking, okay, the remedy to that is maturity. And in the werewolf legend, now not all of the old ones apparently, I think actually the silver thing is like a bit more modern.
Yeah.
But the killing of werewolf with silver is like the traditional one that you think of in America at least.
Yeah.
Like,
silver stands for like purity, richness, like
and I was like, okay, let me
something valuable and like I said, valuable and pure, untainted. So
and
that's why silver was so prominent in the myth of the werewolf or legend or whatever, because it was the complete opposite of a werewolf.
And I was like, here's what I think is so cool about this, like the way things can line up, and maybe like there's multiple levels to legends. Like things are literally true, but they're also true in a different sense.
Your culture comes in and things shift.
So I was like, let me just Google silver. What silver stand for, right? And then you search it, silver stands for sophistication.
Yes.
Right? And I was like, okay, sophistication usually comes along with like maturation, with maturity, that sort of thing. So in the werewolf legend, to defeat the werewolf, you have to strike it with silver, silver bullet, silver like sword, whatever. You can kill it with silver.
Something contrasting.
Yeah. In your own personal life, the way that you defeat your selfishness is through maturity.
Yeah.
And you have to let yourself get struck by that, so the beast sort of goes away, and you can learn to hone the beast. But if you don't, it's going to take over, and then basically you're going to be ravaging everything in your path. And so I think that like the werewolf is like funny to say, but is symbolically true, because in our own lives, if we don't get these things under control, we're living in our mom's basement, right? Like we're not taking care of our wife or husbands or whatever, like you're not taking care of your kids.
What?
You're like, what? Like, oh, I want to pursue my dreams, and it's like, what are your dreams? It's, I want to be a hip hop artist. Yeah, but you're 45 and you're making beats.
Dude,
I
was about to say I want to be a DJ.
Okay.
How funny is it?
Well, and it's not like don't pursue your dreams, but like learn how to narrow yourself for a little bit.
Yeah.
And give up some of those things, and then get really good at something.
Yeah.
And then actually, eventually, Jordan Peterson speaks about this all the time. Your world opens up again.
Name drop.
You know what I mean? You actually have to like choose to narrow yourself, and then your world does open up again. Because like he gives this example: if you become a really good plumber, well, you're not just a really good plumber. You'll be a business owner. You're going to employ people. You're going to change lives. You're like a stalwart of your community. I mean, these are technically true things.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like if you don't do that, you think you're holding on to your dreams, but really like you're a beast. You're a monster. Is what you are, because you're ruining your life, but you're ruining
you're a slave to yourself.
You're a slave to yourself. You're a slave to your desires, and that's what the werewolf is. A slave to that like alter ego that they can't control.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fascinating. Like I would like it would be. I mean, some people might look at that and just be like, yeah, you can read into anything, and that might be true, but like you can read into anything. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you can find where do these things come from?
Yeah.
And I think there might be just some of that is projected, like these legends have a deeper meaning that like is almost unconscious that humans are designing.
Why do we create legends and stuff? Why do people do legends? To tell a story, to
get a point across.
To get a point across, to convey what they believe the world to be, what they believe themselves to be. I mean, that's in a nutshell, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the werewolf is. That's what other beasts are. That's what, it's people saying, hey, this is our worldview, what we think is wrong with the world, right with the world, wrong within ourselves that we want to see change. This is how we tell it through this story. And it's interesting that, and I think that's the way, it's poetry. That's the way the world speaks in poetry, and that's what gets the point across to so many people. And it's beautiful, and I think that's why it's so prominent even to this day. You see it in movies and different videos. Why do people gravitate to that? It's cool, sure, but there's something in that.
There's got to be like there's truth in fiction. Like if you're watching a fictional horror movie or whatever, you can only rank it on like what's if it's all just fake and you're not gleaming anything from it, then you can't really rank like, well, this movie's better than this movie. It's like, yeah, it might have better special effects or better acting or whatever, right?
Sure.
But like you're obviously pulling some truth from it.
Yeah.
And like if you watch a movie about a werewolf, yeah, it's about a werewolf, but it also might be about something deeper. There's probably like relationships in there.
Yep.
Just character development. Also, have I been saying Navajo or Navajo?
What's the symbolism? Did you even say that once? Navajo?
I did, and I don't even know what it is anymore. Is it the Navajo people or the Navajo people?
On three, let's say what we think it is.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Navajo. You do to it.
Nope.
Is it Navajo people?
I don't know. Navajo sounds better.
Navajo.
I think
It's definitely not Navajo.
Navajo's a very American
I
thing.
apologize for saying I'm very American.
But we've been also saying Rihanna this whole time, and it's Rihanna.
Yeah, but she's not correcting us, so it's her fault.
And Ariana Grande, we've been saying it's Grandy. You knew that one?
That's her fault. That's her fault.
Yeah.
But okay, with the Navajo people, the shapeshifters in their culture become so when they commit a really heinous act, when they kill somebody.
Yeah.
That's like the definitive action of becoming a monster and crossing over to a point that's really hard to come back from.
Yeah.
And that's how they become that beast.
Yeah.
And that's like true in your own life. Like, what line do you cross? Like, where then you're the monster.
Yeah.
Obviously, not killing somebody probably, but
Sure.
there's still something.
Where does man end and beast begin?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Not so easy to tell.
That's where we sit back and we let out a curse because it's so good. Yeah. So,
This
go ahead.
podcast of Brother Symbolism is sponsored by Ezra Brooks.
Ezra Brooks. It's not a sponsor.
Yeah, but could be.
But
We're open.
Ezra, if you're watching this,
We're open to it.
Mr. Brooks.
Also, this is my brother's apartment. Incredibly blasphemous to all of our Catholic followers. That is Han Solo, not Christ or the Virgin Mary.
Look at the blaster.
I would never do that.
Sure you wouldn't.
So,
Cool. Yeah, we are coming from a different setup this time.
yeah.
Because we really don't know what we're doing yet.
Yeah, we
And
don't have it
and
nailed
it
down.
just made more sense tonight to do it from here.
But, I mean, this apartment is... I mean, we have a brighter light on here, but when I walk in,
It's super dark.
Mood lighting.
You can't see it. I'm not going to move
There's
the
Halloween
camera.
decorations around.
If I move the camera, it might turn off. Yeah, I got this place spooked out.
It's pretty
I
cool.
got right to my left Michael Myers mask.
I actually looked over there when we were recording and it creeped me out a little bit.
It's terrifying.
I didn't see it when I walked in.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
And you made that or you bought that?
You
bought that one.
What would you believe?
Bought it.
Yeah, Party City. All right.
How's Party City?
It's-
For Halloween costumes.
I am gone. I got that like 3 years ago.
Okay.
All right. We're going to wrap this video up real quick. Do you believe in werewolves? Just
Do I?
in the-
I think you
in
should
whatever
ask me.
form. What should I ask?
Okay. Ask me 2 questions.
Okay.
Do I believe in werewolves
Okay.
in a different way than I did before I researched it? And do I believe in werewolves in the literal sense?
You want me to ask that, even though you just...
I want you to ask me those 2. Yeah.
Do you believe in werewolves in a different way than when you first researched them?
Yeah. I do.
Do you believe in werewolves in the literal sense? If you say no, this video ends.
Don't interrupt me when I'm doing that, and ask it to me again.
Do you believe in werewolves in the literal sense? And
Hey.
don't.
So we're gonna do it one more time,
Okay.
and don't talk.
Okay. You're very slow.
Yeah, it's dramatic.
Okay. Do you believe in werewolves in the literal sense?
Well, Jack, I don't know.
My name's not Jack. I don't even think that's a quote.
This is true though. I legitimately don't know. I'm a 23-year-old college graduate. I don't know if werewolves are false or fake or not. They might be real.
All right. Now go ahead and ask me 2 questions.
Okay. Oh, I heard them like crack when you put them on.
What are you saying?
You know?
What are you saying?
Nothing. Not saying anything.
What are you saying?
Nothing. All right. Do you believe in werewolves in a different way now than before you researched for this video?
100%.
Do you believe in werewolves in a literal sense?
Well, Jack, I don't know. Who is Jack?
Please be careful.
Sorry, they feel like Walmart glasses.
They're not.
I don't.
No, these are Eyeglasses USA. And then
okay,
also,
and to say,
I see how I didn't interrupt you when you were doing the dramatic thing.
Yeah, you're a better person than I am. Respectful.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if I do, but it's. I'm 27 and I don't know if I believe in werewolves. But I'm okay saying
when I was 13, I would have said no. I don't know when you're 30, I'm going, not sure.
Yeah, not sure. Yeah, who knows?
Because it's a fascinating world out there, kids. Full of twists, turns, U-turns, 3-point turns, turns that didn't quite work out.
Wrong turns.
Left turns.
Right turns.
So many left turns, it becomes a right turn. Your turn.
My turn.
His turn. My turn.
Turn up. Cool. I think.
Well, good video.
I think that's a wrap.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna post some of the links that we pulled some stuff from in the description.
Comments. Description.
Go watch those other 2 videos
first.
Yep. And then the next video we aren't quite sure what we're doing. Although I would really like to do a monster series where like next we're gonna look at vampires or.
I'm into vampires.
Vampires, I feel like it's
not as much.
Vampires, I feel like if I'm researching by myself at night, I'm gonna look over my shoulder a lot. Like werewolves don't creep me out as much. But I think it'd be cool. I actually think maybe we don't do it now, but like doing a series on monsters and doing it somewhere big would be pretty cool. But we're definitely doing a Halloween.
Now's the best time.
We're definitely doing a Halloween series. Like we're definitely doing one on the origins of Halloween.
Oh yeah.
So we might do that. I mean, we have a couple more weeks in October, so we might do one that's like really close to it. But yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
You don't feel like we peaked too soon? Like first real episode of Werewolves.
We went
like
pretty
you
hard.
think it's just all down from here?
We went pretty hard. I see no up.
Thanks for watching.
I think Christmas will be cool though. Maybe we'll try to do some spooky Christmas stuff.
Or Santa. Yeah, spooky Santa.
Santa in general would be cool.
Yeah, he's spooky.
There's a lot of cool stuff to do.
For another season. Thanks for watching.
See you, Jack.
It's not a thing.